How do you beat a driver that's faster than you? This is my teammate Dario, setting a lap time that I didn't think was possible in qualifying. We tested together, we have the same setup, we practiced loads and loads, but on paper, I should lose every time. But what if I don't?
Speed has never killed anyone. Suddenly becoming stationary, that's what gets.
We are back in the LMP3 in Multiclass. I have the black wheels, Dario has the white wheels, and our very fast but netcode challenged friend Agalos has the black and green Ardox car behind me. Now step one in my plan to beat Dario was diplomacy.
Draft is strong. Work together and get Dario.
So the plan was simple. Dario and Pole would control the start. My job was to hold on to P2 into turn 1. Agalos is going to take it chill, so all we have to do is cover off P3. Green flag and we get caught sleeping a little bit, but we still get a decent launch. Dario stays on the racing line, which gives me a nice tow down to turn 1, helping me clear Max before the corner. I move across to cancel out any idea of a lunge, and then I'm strong on the brakes into turn 1. Behind me, Agalos and Max are side by side into the corner. He runs a little wide and then a little wider into Max, taking out P3 and P5 in the process. Bro, when I said let's make it to T2, this is not what I meant, but he doesn't get away with it. He needs to defend his position from the number 1, but is stuck on the outside down towards the Villeneuve chicane. The outside becomes the inside, and both give racing room, but the 1 gets great momentum around the outside, giving Agalos the impossible task of hanging it round the outside for Toza. But he's got a bit more confidence on the cold tyres and starts to make it work, but it's a drag race up the hill. In this race there's a tailwind into Piratella, which means that there's no way to make the outside line work. He gives it a try anyway and finds the runoff, finally conceding the position after 4 or 5 corners. But it's not over because PS sticks a nose into the double right-hander. Carrying more momentum, he gets a bit greedy and snatches the grass, losing time and positions. Agalos continues on and chases after the number 1. Lots of dramatics, but how does that compare to our first couple of laps? Well, Dario's being Dario. Stupid fast right out the gate, and I'm chasing with everything I've got. The good thing is Imola's full of awkward little corners. Mainly low speed with the exception of those first 2 chicanes. That combined with the headwind down the main straight is helping me keep in touch, but the guy's pulling away. If I want to win, there's only really 2 scenarios that are going to play out right now. Either 1, I stay with him long enough to meet the GT4s, or 2, he makes more mistakes than me. And if you're a regular viewer, you know that that's probably pretty unlikely. Or it would be if I wasn't using bloops this week. See, my friend Duncan created this app that gives you an audio cue whenever you're approaching a braking zone. It's great for tricky, flowy tracks like this, and keeps me just within a second as Dario makes his first mistake. Skipping across Variante Alta, Dario's car lands awkwardly out of 12. This moment is well held but slow, and piles pressure on as we go into the next lap. Under pressure into turn 1, he takes slightly too much speed, missing the apex and then catching the curb in turn 2, losing all momentum. I have the overspeed, but before I can even pick a side, he covers me off. But Dario streams, and in his last race he was leading until he did this. So I used it, thinking he'd be cautious over the curbs, sending it round the outside and parking it on the apex. Now I'm ahead, but completely forgot what it's like to lead, locking up my front left into Toza. Watch how Dario anticipated this and set up the corner for a good exit. I sacrificed my exit to get to the inside. Remember how I said it's almost impossible to hang it around the outside of the next corner? We're still being a little bit too nice to each other, but that's about to change. I'm fast in but slow out, and he gets the run up towards the final chicane. We give just less than a car's width and then dart back over to the racing line. Brake and then fly through the chicane. One thing I like to try when defending against a quicker driver is to block their view of the corner. This works especially well against hot lappers, who are used to seeing every corner from the racing line. If I can take that reference away, pin them to the inside, hide some braking boards, or keep them on the outside and block their view of the apex, it's unsettling. It doesn't matter how many monitors you've got, or if you're in VR, you're not seeing through me. Dario's closed back in by lap 6, but we're finally hitting these GT4s. On one hand, it's an opportunity for a faster driver to get held up by a slower, more clumsy class. But on the other, if I can put slow cars between myself and Dario, maybe I can get a gap, or maybe I can get away. I duck underneath the BMW and lose some momentum, covering off the inside. From here, I can control the corner. I don't care to take the fastest line, I just need to show Dario the slowest one. Edging a bit wide through the left kills his minimum speed for the right, where I can leave room but carry speed, giving me respite for Toza. Jumping back on board with Dario, keep your eye on the gap in the bottom left corner as we slice through some more traffic. I get past just before the turn-in point for the Mercedes and Dario gets him on exit. 0.5 seconds as we again get the Porsche just before turn-in point and Dario bravely gets him too, minimizing his loss. Now 0.8 seconds. I'm offered the racing line into Ravazza and take it. Dario goes for a send but doesn't quite commit fully, not trusting the McLaren, and has a slow apex speed. The gap now stretching out to just over a second as we head onto another lap of high traffic. I catch the McLaren and Mercedes on the straight, meaning I can put another 2 cars between me and Dario before turn 1. It's free lap time, and whilst he's fumbling around trying to get past the McLaren and Mercedes that are missing apexes, I should be full speed through sector 1 and increasing the gap. Unfortunately, I couldn't quite do that because my GT4 had a skill issue of their own, but we still increased the gap by 0.3 of a second. I'm not quite so lucky into the next chicane, getting held up by the green Porsche. But with the gap at over a second and now cars between us, you'd think that it gets chill from here and we just cruise away to an easy victory. Nope. He clears the Porsche on exit and I'm just laser focused on getting past this BMW before turn 8. I send it a little bit late, forcing him off the apex and running wide, allowing Dario to swoop up underneath. Suddenly there's no cars between us and a GT4 ahead of me at the slowest part of the track. There's nothing I can do, I literally just have to wait behind him, slow exit, and all of that gap is gone, and what's more is Dario has a run. So I choose to stay inside, brake super early to cover his view of the apex, meaning I get to choose my apex and this guy has to guess, building that gap back out to a still uncomfortable 0.3 of a second. And it's not over, we got more traffic to contend with, and more opportunities to either get overtaken, crash, or put some cars between me and Dario. I get a pretty weak exit onto the main straight, giving Dario the draft all the way down to turn 1. Also, sorry if I'm over-explaining any of this, I just really want to get across what I was thinking at the time. There's traffic ahead, Dario's close behind, so I position the car defensively into turn 1. I want to get the car fully stopped so there's no opportunity for an overlap before I start accelerating through the traffic. Dario puts full faith in me to pick a line through the middle of these 2 GT4s, then we go back to the racing line and head into the second chicane where I try to pry the door open on this BMW. It's not happening, he gives me space, but then we end up 3 wide down towards Toza. Dario on the outside. I brake slightly early because we all know the switcheroo. It's 2025 and I'm not letting him have it, so we slow down extra on the apex, not giving him any opportunity. Heading up the hill towards turn 8. We've got CrowdStrike Mercedes ahead, Dario right behind. I move to the middle, not to attack, but just shut the door. We keep it tight and control the corner, then move to the inside for the very awkward Aqua Minerale. And just because we're on the inside doesn't mean we have to overshoot the corner. Let's get the car stopped, turned in, and accelerate off. There's a bit of contact, but it's all about minimizing opportunities for P2. And if you want an example of how not to do the final chicane, this is it. Not enough work in the middle of the corner leaves me wide on exit and Dario's breathing down my neck. A little pattern that you might be able to pick up on is that I'm quite confident on the brakes in the heavy braking zones, but quite bad at getting the power down on exit. As we see here, strong on the brakes, little lockup, but I get it stopped. And then as we exit here onto the main straight, Dario's just right with me, loses no time. And this is going to be consequential as he's close enough to shape for another move into turn 1. All the time that he's close behind me, I'm at more risk of making a mistake, and he's just learning where I'm strong and where I'm weak, and also the defensive games that I'm playing as I hold him again away from the apex, make it, and then start accelerating off the corner, meaning that I'm not under pressure down to the second chicane. And finally, towards the end of the lap, I'm able to put the GT4 leader between us. This is a big win because we're able to finally build that gap back out to over a second, giving me a little break before Dario inevitably catches right back up. But before he has a go at me again, let me get ahead of the comment section accusing me of clickbait for not actually teaching anything, and just recap some of the defensive thinking that I've used against Dario so far. In the last 10 minutes, it's really boiled down to a couple of things. If you're not the quickest, be the most consistent. It's easier. Learn where your opponent is weaker than you and take risks. Use smart car positioning and block their view. And remember, defending the inside doesn't mean you have to blow the corner. Hopefully that helps. Let's get back to the race, and barely 2 laps later, we're again under threat from Dario. Jumping off the final corner once again, and Dario is super close. I've got a lapped car ahead of me that's giving me a bit of toe, a bit of extra top end, but it's not going to be enough because he's too close. So we move over to the left side, showing him the lowest percentage move. Now he collects some more draft from the car.
Momentarily, he's up to second place, but Russell backs out of it. And Verstappen roars around the outside to take the lead in spectacular fashion. One of the incredible...
Jasper, what was he doing?
Okay, I didn't know you could do that. And this is really bad. It's not like earlier in the race where I could just sit behind him. I need to think of something, and quick. He's just overtaken, he thinks he's safe, so we go wide, target the apex, hold straight and brake hard. We catch him by surprise, but he adjusts really well and carries the speed around the outside, keeping the position. And now is a good time to mention a little bit of why I want to win this race so badly. So, I'm coming back after a pretty long break, and I'll be honest, I had a few doubts about myself. I felt like I stagnated, and I really just wanted to prove to myself that I can do it. It sounds silly, but hitting 7k iRating has been a goal for a little while now, and in this race there's 50 iRating on the line, which is super rare. So more than anything, I really want to win. Not to show off, but just to prove to myself that I can still push, I can still improve, and maybe even beat my quicker teammate. And with just a few laps to go, we hit traffic for the final time. Earlier, I was able to pull a 1.5 seconds through traffic, but if I let Dario do the same, then that's the race gone. Because in clear air, I'm never closing the gap. If I'm going to get back ahead, it has to be now. So I brake from another postcode to meet Dario at the apex. I can see he's too close to the car ahead, so I set myself up for a good exit down the main straight. We get alongside super early, but Dario's putting us on the outside for turn 1. Our momentum over Dario diminishes as both cars begin to top out. Snatching 6th gear and realizing that I don't have that much of an advantage into turn 1 as Dario has the inside. We're both alive, and I'm ahead. Next is Villeneuve. More traffic means a slow exit, and I just drive in the middle of the road, leaving no gap. I move across to defend and brake, parking it on the apex. Dario misjudges the cutback and gets a poor exit. So with that near miss, I've lucked my way back in front of Dario. And across the last 25 minutes, I think I've defended it pretty much every single corner on the racetrack. With less than 5 minutes to go, if I can just do what I know, I'm winning this fucking race. So into the final chicane, and Dario's piling on pressure again, but he takes way too much of the first curb and completely misses the second. Not only does that build the gap back out, but look who's back, Agalos. There's 4 laps to go, and maybe I can finally answer the question. How do you beat a driver that's faster than you? This is me, leading the last few laps of the race. If it ended right here, then I beat them purely on technique. But racecraft isn't just technique, is it? Pushing track limits, I see a GT4 ahead, and remember the time I almost got away until I got stuck at turn 10. I think I would have made it past quickly, but I was tired and carried too much speed. Now I've got to wait to get on throttle. And then I remember that on paper, I should lose every time. Nah, I'm just fucking with you. This is what really happened. We get a very unlucky bounce off the second curb, landing sideways. I react, but the bouncing car snaps the other way, straight for the wall. So I tried to load up the fronts and steer out of it. Yes, we hit the wall, but side on and no damage. And I was just going to end the whole video at the crash, but I forgot I also had this incredible race with Agalos. Okay, so let's turn the music down, let's get rid of the cinematics, let's not have any cringe, let's just run through the rest of the race. So he gets past and then immediately throws an aggressive shape, which is fair enough. He probably knows that I'm super pissed off from throwing away the race. But at this point, I've already had a really good time battling with Dario, and I'm kind of thinking that maybe we can still get Dario either by overtaking or working with Agalos. But I just haven't figured out which one of those I'm going to do yet. One nail in the coffin of this plan is Dario getting ahead of that blue GT4, and then he sends it like a blue shell straight at us. With the Mercedes taking the Lewis Hamilton line, I go around the outside. Probably could have done a better job of it, but we're close enough to put some pressure on Agalos. And you kind of always have this when you rejoin from a mistake where you get overtaken and you think you're faster than the car ahead, so I'm just kind of putting pressure on, sizing him up, seeing who's faster. Also, since he overtook me, he's been doing defensive lines, which obviously just slows us down as a group and kind of makes me feel like I should probably go for something. But it's tricky, I mean, there's not long left in the race. I don't really know what his priorities are, and maybe I'm making the wrong decisions, but in hindsight, I probably should have tried to blue text him or something to say work together, but right now we're just moving as one unit, basically, down in Aqua Minerale up to this red Mercedes. Probably not going to lose too much time on exit, but I'm close enough to shape for a move. I really don't want to, and you can see me tapping the brakes a little bit, but I'm just thinking maybe he'll make the same mistake that I did, but he's cool under pressure. He just goes through the chicane kind of slowly, and we carry on our way. And I think it was right around here where I saw Dario passing a bunch of GT4s, and I thought, really my race for the lead is over, so let's have a go at Agalos. Diving deep on the brakes down into Ravazza, we go around the outside, he leaves us space, and this should give us a better exit onto the main straight. And I get some ideas in my head, but I probably should have been following my own advice. I forgot that Agalos had a lower downforce than we did, and I thought it'd be fine to catch him before T1. So thinking this, I see the red Porsche ahead and I devise a little plan. We go outside, Agalos goes outside. We go inside, Agalos can't go inside. And now we're alongside Agalos, but forgot that he completely doesn't give a fuck and turned in anyway. And that's on me. I didn't do enough under braking, I didn't get far enough alongside before braking, so I mean, he has the right. It was a bit dangerous, but whatever. And that would be the first of a few nails in the coffin for this battle. So now I'm trying to make up the time again, and I grab a bit of curb through the Villeneuve chicane, then I grab some gravel, and that's a bit of time lost, and because I grabbed the gravel, now I'm going to lock the inside front, lose some more time, and you know what that does? Puts Agalos that little bit further away, which means that he can take the next corner comfortably, and I'm going to have to send it way too late on this Porsche, who kindly gives up this corner. The thing is, traffic is luck until you're close enough to the car ahead. Because if you're close enough, then your luck is the same. You hit GT4s at the same time. But he's a bit ahead, so he got slightly less lucky than I did on that GT4. But it does mean that when you start getting behind, it does feel a bit like a compounding effect. But anyway, we're nice and close coming into the final chicane. And you know what? Our last teaching moment, and spoilers, because the race is about to end, but it's about to end due to this thing in multi-class racing called, you know what? Let me pass over to Jimmy.
By staying on a line. Doesn't have to be the racing line all the time, but if you just stay where you are and be predictable, that is the easiest way to be passed. By moving at the last second, you are being incredibly unpredictable, and it's
just fucking stupid.
Stay on your f***ing line.
Fuckles.
Because this is a really unpredictable move from the car in front. And one of the big rules for a car being overtaken, be it by a car behind or from a lap car, is to be somewhat predictable. This is not, there's no way you can predict it in a slam on the brakes. This is flat out here.